Okay, this is for pruning lilacs now. This is a bush that was here when we bought the place. You can kind of see where these thick stalks are. It was originally just these thick stalks that were here. 2 years ago we came in. Um, there's two differences. I did a video on blueberry bushes, and those are different because those, when you cut them, they'll bush out from these spots here. Some things like lilacs and roses are a little bit different, where when you behead them above ground like this, what they'll actually do is shoot out new shoots from the ground all over the place. So all of these new stringy pieces you see growing around everywhere, that actually all came up last year. Same thing with everything around on the inside. If I can get a little closer, you can see at the ground where they're all popping out everywhere. Those are all just 1 year. When you have a newer plant that is just this thin gangly stuff like that, when I'm pruning in spring, all I'll do, if you can see this top right here, I'll cut near one of these buds. So I'll just cut at the top right here, and then this will split into two new shoots, so it'll make the whole thing much bushier. So in spring, all you want to do is go around and just clip those tops off, unless you're propagating. If you're propagating, you don't. You can actually go down further, cut down here, stick this part in the ground in late April, early May in New England. But when you're cutting the top, you can just go a little bit lower and then stab it in the ground, and you'll have another lilac bush at the end of the year. I actually have a couple giant sticks that I just put in the ground last year that I cut off just as an experiment, see if they come back at all this year. So it'd be cool if they did. They didn't do anything, but never know. But yeah, it's very different when you cut the big stuff on lilacs. I mean, this was like a 7-foot tall bush, and I did last spring I cut it down to about 2 feet, and then all this other new growth came out from the ground all around it. So when you behead these, it's not going to be this this thick branch. It's not like blueberries where it's going to spring out everywhere from here. It's going to spring out new growth everywhere on the ground. Because the trick with bushes and plants like that are the roots store the energy to grow new growth. So if everything is doing good, these would just keep growing, and they're not going to do anything but go up crazy and look ridiculous. But once this gets beheaded, then the plant figures out that there's a whole lot more energy underground than is coming in from above ground, so it'll start shooting out all of these new shoots to make new growth, because it's got a healthy root system but an unhealthy plant. So then it focuses on strengthening the plant more. Blueberries do it above ground. Things like roses and lilacs, I want to say rhododendron. There's other ones too that are this kind of style, where when you behead the plant itself, then it'll become more of a bush. And again, if you have a newer one, you can just clip these little tops, and that will just make it all bush out more this year. And as long as you keep it the height you want, it'll just keep bushing out everywhere. But if you have a thick gangly one, that's where you got to start. It's just behead that sucker this year, and then next year you'll have an actual bush rather than 5 stalks of lilacs with 6 flowers. I hope this one helped too. Any questions, please feel free.